Coal has driven the American energy industry since the late 1800s. Even today, we struggle to leave it behind for safer and more sustainable resources. The decaying grip of coal still affects Appalachia today. So how did coal become the Appalachian export? Well, it all started in the Pocahontas Coal Field of Virginia. The Pocahontas Coal Field actually spans the border of Virginia and West Virginia, but due to the earliest mining done there on the Virginia side, we recognize Pocahontas, Virginia as the birthplace of the coal boom. In 1882, Pocahontas Mine No. 1 would be the first mine in the area, marking the official start of America's first coal boom. What made the Pocahontas coal field so prime for the booming of the industry was the rating of the coal inside the mines. Pocahontas held some of the best coal in the entire world. It was rated at 15,000 BTUs per pound, which means that the energy content of this coal per pound is higher than most anywhere else in the entire world. Naturally, with a potential boom ahead, corporations started circling like vultures to their prey. The first corporation that came out of the Pocahontas coal field was the Pocahontas Fuel Company, which opened up a handful of mines in other places throughout Virginia and West Virginia. The Pocahontas Fuel Company would be bought out by Consolidation Coal Company, which still operates coal mines today in Ammonite, Virginia. As the coal boom ballooned, so did the railway. New lines were built constantly to support the massive amount of coal being processed in the mines. By the turn of the 20th century, J.P. Morgan's U.S. Steel threw its hat into the Pocahontas coal field as they set up mining operations in the area. Unfortunately, with these new U.S. Steel-backed mines came an inundation of company mining towns. These disgusting excuses for communities would go on to disenfranchise nearly all of Appalachia and are partly responsible for the region being so notoriously behind when it comes to economy and prosperity. Luckily, by the 1930s, the United Mine Workers Union was able to get its foot in the door at the Pocahontas coal field. Immigrants from all over Europe then flocked to Pocahontas, as well as a massive population of African Americans in search of their own American dream. Today, McDowell County, West Virginia has the largest population of African Americans of any West Virginia county due to this great migration in the 1930s behind the mine union. The coal boom was in full force and would continue on through 2 world wars and decades of production. It wasn't until technological advances post-war that coal would experience a long, slow decline. Despite the 1980s propping up the coal industry during a mini boom, the mines in the area were closing fast as the 1990s approached. Since 1990, due to the exit of the coal companies, the population of McDowell County, West Virginia has been reduced by 75%. You can only imagine how the economy and the people unable to leave have suffered in the decades since. Pocahontas Mine No. 1 began the United States' first coal boom. The industrial value that the coal in Pocahontas Mine No. 1 had, combined with the ability of the mine to produce coal derivatives for industrial processing, put gas to a bonfire. Coal nearly overnight boomed. It wasn't just what Mine No. 1 held inside it that was responsible for the boom, however. It was also the logistical support the mine had created with the railway. Pocahontas Mine No. 1, due to its superb logistical support and proximity to Norfolk, Virginia, would become the savior of World War I and World War II. Interestingly, the coal that Pocahontas No. 1 produced had a smokeless quality to it when burned. This allowed the U.S. Navy to go undetected to enemies over long distances. Since they could get closer to their enemy without detection, they had an extreme advantage on the seas. Without the coal of Pocahontas Mine No. 1, the wars might have turned out differently. The life of Pocahontas Mine No. 1 would come to an end in 1955, after 68 years of coal mining. From 1938 until 1970, the mine actually acted as the first exhibition coal mine in the United States. At Pocahontas, you could drive your car through the mine, while it was an exhibition mine. In 1994, Pocahontas Mine No. 1 would be declared a National Historic Landmark. Appalachia has always been tied to the profits of coal mining, but not in a good way. When coal came into Appalachia, Appalachians thought that it would finally give them the opportunity to pursue their American dream. Unfortunately, it did the exact opposite. It would grind the people down and take every last bit of pride they had left. As quickly as it destroyed mountaintops, it would leave communities without jobs and in need of health care. Without a doubt, the coal boom set many energy companies up for life. But all it did to the people of Appalachia was leave them in poverty.